Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat. Nasvaya Bhatesu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. Bhagavati Uttamasloke. Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So we will discuss today Srimad Bhagavatam first canto, chapter 12, text 27. Tataksat Atmano Mrityum Tviya Putro Pasarshitat Papapsyata Upasrutya Mukta Sangra Paramhare. I will read the translation, but I stop the screen sharing because that may take too much internet. So, translation. After hearing about his impending death due to the bite of a snake bird sent by a son of a Brahmin, he will get himself freed from all material attachment and surrender unto the personality of Godhead, taking shelter of him. Purport. Material attachment and taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord go ill together. Material attachment means ignorance of the transcendental happiness under the shelter of the Lord. Devotional service to the Lord while existing in the material world is a way to practice one's transcendental relation with the Lord. And when it is matured, one gets completely free from all material attachment and becomes competent to go back home, back to Godhead. Maharaj Pariksit, being especially attached to the Lord from the beginning of his body in the womb of his mother, was continuously under the shelter of the Lord. And the so-called warning of his death within 7 days from the date of the curse of the Brahman's son was a boon to him to enable him to prepare himself to go back home, back to Godhead. Since he was always protected by the Lord, he could have avoided the effect of such a curse by the grace of the Lord, but he did not take such undue advantage for nothing. Rather, he made the best use of a bad bargain. For 7 days continuously, he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from the right source, and thus he got shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord by that opportunity. Read the verse again. Tataksat atmanomrityum tviya putro pasarchitat papatsyata upasrutya muktasanga padamhare. After hearing about his impending death due to the bite of a snake bird sent by a son of a Brahmin, he will get himself freed from all material attachment and surrender unto the personality of Godhead, taking shelter of him. Amajana Timrandasya Jnansa Shlakyan Sakshun Umritam Yena Tasmai Sigo Venama. Namam Vishnu Padai Krishna Vistang Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvashesha Sunyavadi Paskatyai Desatarani. So here it is stated that Maharaj Pariksit will get free from all material attachment and surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It sounds easy to be free from all material attachment. Today I decide I will be free of all material attachment. But it's not an easy thing to become free from material attachment. In the Shastra, it is often stated that it is easy to become Krishna conscious. That now someone asked Srila Prabhupada, how long does it take to become Krishna conscious? And Prabhupada said, just a moment. That also in the Shastra often stated, we have statements that it's easy to become Krishna conscious. Chaitanya, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Eka Krishna Nam, by even chanting the holy name of, by even chanting one holy name of Krishna, one can become free from all material attachment. Srila Prabhupada also stated that Krishna consciousness is very easy. And Srila Prabhupada assured us, you chant 16 rounds and follow 4 regulative principles and you go back to Godhead. But it is not so easy. It's not so easy because Maya is very strong. Maya is very powerful. And it is very difficult to get free from Maya, illusory energy. Mama Maya Duracya. Even if we want to be free from bad thoughts and from bad activities, it may be very difficult to do so. Therefore, Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita 3:36 said, Atakena payukto yam papam charati purusa anicham api varsneya balat na niyojita. So Arjuna says to Krishna, O descendant of Vishnu, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? And Krishna replies, Kama isha krodha isha ratsa guna samudbhava masanama papna vityanam iyavairinam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, which is all devouring sinful enemy of this world. So this calm, it represents a whole attitude behind material desire, which is the opposite of bhakti or love for Krishna. Love for Krishna is pure, and what's not love for Krishna is impure. The desire to satisfy one's own senses is calm, and the desire to satisfy Krishna's transcendental senses is called prema. So material desires produces suffering. An intelligent person does not take part in the source of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and the wise does not delight in them. So that is certainly a factor that material desires cause suffering. But there is more. Worse is that material desire blocks love for Krishna. That's worse. Because Krishna Suryaman Andakar. Krishna is like the sun. And where there is the sun, there is no darkness. In the same way, when there is Krishna consciousness, there is no Maya. Krishna consciousness means prema, and Maya means calm. So having understood it, we should give it up, this calm, with our intelligence. So Krishna advises to use our intelligence to give up lust. But it doesn't seem so easy. We cannot give it up immediately. It does not work like that. We have to take to the pose of sadhana bhakti for purification, follow the instructions of the spiritual master, and get into regular devotional service. That does not mean that we are free from desires, but we are trying to serve Krishna. there is no love yet. That Vaidisana Bhakti is like a child. A child that's 6, 7 years old. The daughter imitates the mother in cooking. And the daughter gets a toy kitchen and has a pan with plastic chapatis and trying to imitate the mother. So we are trying to imitate, but it's not real because the devotion is not yet there, because the devotion is blocked by this lust. But by following the instruction of the spiritual master, Krishna will be pleased. And because Krishna is pleased, we become purified, and gradually this love will be revealed again. So that this is the process of purification. We see here, although Maharaj Pariksit was very advanced, he presents himself as impure. He thinks himself a king who is always busy with worldly affairs. And he sees the curse of Shenji, of the Brahman boy, as a blessing. Because he thinks, now I can free myself from all these attachments. I can free myself from the attachment to all these screens. I can free myself from my army. I can free myself from my treasury. I can free myself from my royal position and just go to the bank of the Ganges and chant the holy names, the glories of Lord Vishnu. Chant the holy name of the Lord and hear about Krishna. So he was taking that as his purification. So he attained perfection by hearing. The hearing about Krishna purifies us and helps us to develop love for Krishna. So all these statements are true. We can become in a moment Krishna conscious. But the problem is these material desires. We have first to purify ourselves. That, of course, when Prabhupada said, in a moment, you can be Krishna conscious. And that's true. If you want to think now of Krishna, we can think of Krishna and we are Krishna conscious for a few seconds, and then the mind wants to do something else again. So it's a question of desire. But we have these material desires that are blocking that. And that's the whole issue. So therefore, Maharaj Pariksit was sitting down at the Ganga once Somacharya sit at the bank of the Yamuna. And he was inquiring because he knew he had only 7 days to live. What I'm going to do with these 7 days? And that was also his question to Sukadev Goswami. That what should I do? What's the duty of a man about to die? He says, I've only 7 days. And of course, the essential answer is Tasma Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavanishvaro Rishvotafya Sheshata Sapa Seta Abhayam. Yeah. And it means one should Tasma Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Ari. So one should hear about Krishna, remember Krishna, and glorify Krishna. So Tasma Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Ari Shotafyas Martas Sespartamas Vasya. Yeah, I forget a few words, but that's the meaning. But before saying that, before Sukadev Goswami speaks this verse, which is in the answer before he said that human life is not meant for sense gratification. So he stresses that human life is not meant for sense gratification. So yes, so this point is important. Overcoming this tendency for sense gratification is for us a process, and this process is shown by Maharaj Pariksit. Maharaj Pariksit, he yes, Maharaj Pariksit, he taught himself impure, that he taught himself that because he saw the cursing of Shringi as Krishna forcing him to give up these attachments. And therefore, he saw the cursing of Shringi as the most fortunate thing in his life. And that is also a lesson to learn for us. He found it to be the most fortunate thing, that people today will think otherwise. A great king loses everything. His kingdom, his position, everything. Most unfortunate. But Maharaj Pariksit was thinking, this is most fortunate, because now I can purify myself. There's an opportunity for purification. And it's Krishna setting me on the path of going back to Godhead. So this is a very important lesson to learn for all of us. Our situation is not really different from Maharaj Pariksit. We are all meant about to die. And Maharaj Pariksit knew he had 7 days. We don't know even that we have 7 days. That we have just seen the Pope. He was very active, and in the night just he passed away. No warning, death doesn't warn. It can come really any moment. That there is no warning. And therefore, it is good to think, yeah, I should use every moment to make spiritual advancement. Every moment. And not waste any time. Mark Pritchett, he knew 7 days I don't have much time, so I can't waste any moment. But we cannot waste any moment. That is an inner attitude. Spend all your activities in cultivating Krishna consciousness, and give up those activities which are contrary to it, is text 2 of Nectar of Instruction. So in that way, Maharaj Pariksit is giving an example here, that inner attitude. He was not blaming Shringi. He was thinking the fault lies in myself. And that's a spiritual, that is a sign of spiritual advancement. If we are in this world, if something goes wrong, then we are very quick to say it's the other, not me. But factually, it's only us, because Krishna gives us the reactions of our activities, of our previous births. It's our reactions. It's our responsibility. We are responsible for our own happiness and distress in this world. We are the architect of our happiness and distress. So Maharaj Pariksit didn't blame anyone, but he took it as Krishna's mercy, helping him going back to Godhead. And that is an inner attitude that helps us to purify. And that is Maharaj Pariksit. Is a great example for us because this purification process helps us to give up material attachment. Krishna says in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, yes, you have to use your intelligence to engage the mind and senses in devotional service. But many times our intelligence is overcome by this calm, this lust, these material desires. And we become a victim of our own attachments. So it's not so easy to overcome. But if we follow steadily the process of sadhana bhakti, and especially following the footsteps of Maharaj Pariksit, hearing sufficiently, then, because everything comes from the hearing. The hearing about Krishna will give us intelligence and strengthen our intelligence and strengthen our attachment to Krishna and will diminish our lust. Our hearing is the medicine and we should take it. And that is what Maharaj Pariksit is given us. So, despite the weak internet, we have been able to come so far. Any questions, please?
Hey, Krishna Maharaj. I do have a question. First, thank you so much for the class. Very inspiring and a lot of really great points. I guess my question is that we may have these material attachments, but we might not have that taste yet to replace it with something higher, like hearing about Krishna, chanting, the 9 processes of devotional service. So, what's like a middle step that we can take to kind of become free from material attachments if we don't necessarily have that higher taste yet for always hearing and chanting, but we want to get rid of our material desires, but we cannot just, like not have them. Like how do we what's like a middle ground for that?
Yeah, that's in the purport. Srila Prabhupada writes that Maharaj Pariksit is using. It's making the best use of a of a bad bargain. The best use of a bad bargain. This body is a bad bargain, and all our material attachment also. But not all, but we have to learn to use our material attachment in the service of Krishna, and that is the middle ground. And that is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that we must use our material svadharma, our material likes and dislikes, in the service of Krishna. And that's a middle ground, because if then your material desires will to a certain extent be fulfilled, and Krishna will be pleased because you do it for him. So that is the middle ground, and we must all go to that middle ground. We have to use our likes and dislikes when possible. If they are sinful, it cannot. But if they are not sinful, they can be used in Krishna consciousness. Because if you don't do that, you cannot forcibly jump to transcendence. It's not possible. That because we have still these material cravings. But by using them in Krishna's service, they will become purified. And we will still like them afterwards, but without the sight of the material attachment. We will like to do it for Krishna. And that's the effect of using it in Krishna's service. That you are a good driver, you drive for Krishna. That if you like to do that. If you are an artist and you make art for Krishna, if you like to agriculture, farming, taking care of cows, you do that for Krishna. Especially taking care of cows. Krishna is very pleased if we do that. Therefore, Prabhupada wanted connected with every temple a goshala. Every project which has a goshala connected will be protected by Krishna. That we need to have that faith. So that's the middle ground. Does that help, Kylie?
Yeah, that was really helpful. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Yeah.
Something else?
On my end? Okay. Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Yeah. Just to understand Maharaj the answer. So devotional service is the middle ground is what you mentioned. Is that correct, Maharaj?
No, what I'm saying is that using our material desires in the service of Krishna is the middle ground. That we can, because devotional service can be pure. That's not the middle ground. Pure devotional service is not the middle ground. That because pure devotional service is done with material desires. That but we cannot jump to pure devotional service. We can try to do it with an attitude of pure devotional service. That's true, we can try, but our material desires may come in between. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita it said, Chatur Vida Bhajantimam, Yechana Sukitaryana, Arta Shikhna Shrachtartijana Sabaratarshava. 4 persons with material desires come to me, Krishna says. One who is full of material attachment, one who is free from material attachment, one who is in distress, one who is curious, one who wants wealth, one who wants to know the absolute truth, all material desires. But the last time is one who wants to know the absolute truth is the purest of the 4. But usually we want to become free from material distress because we want sense gratification, not suffering. That's a material desire. And we have to everyone has to go to that stage, to that middle ground. Everyone. But the method is using one's material desires in Krishna's service. That's the method. So we have the attitude, but that's the method. But more pure, of course, you may have material desires, but we should strive to serve Krishna without asking something in return, without any expectations. That's a good beginning. And that will purify us very quickly if we can do that. So and I think ISKCON is giving that possibility, attracting so many people who do free service without asking something in return. And that is a step forward. They are, but They should be engaged according to their material nature. It's a function of the spiritual master to see how the disciple is contaminated by material nature. How is contaminated? And then find a way to engage his material nature in Krishna's service. So, and that's most important. Does that clarify, Purnachandra?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Something else? Okay. Thank you very much. I wish you a nice day, Krishna conscious day. And probably we have a class this evening that for next week we may have to choose another day because I'm traveling on Wednesday. But thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. His name is Bhakti Prabha Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna Jai.